Nice to see everyone. Well, it's never really known how empty this can get because no matter what's here, it kind of just is what it is. Meaning like the want or desire or the patterning, the conditioning, it just is what it is. Kind of makes sense why it's the way it is. I think one of the reasons why it's then kind of hard to continue to empty out is because everything around you is giving a personal perspective to things. It's not really emptying you out. It's solidifying a false reality in a way. Meaning you can't go to the conventional things where there's been like a formal training of some sort. And really it's just like personal perspectives that have been laid out and they think they know how to change the human or the person. They think that it can be molded a certain way. And it's largely conceptual. It's largely, you're just kind of labeling these things. But what you can see if you go through this is like it's totally energetic and that the labels can be used, but it's not touching this at all. The body is just doing what it's doing. It's emptying out on its own. And perhaps you can also see that the labels come afterwards. The claiming and the knowing comes afterwards. But before, it might have felt like that was the primary. That was the thing that was leading in a way. So, for instance, the emptier you get, it starts to not make sense. Like the words like intuition or setting boundaries or codependency or uh, it's fine to use it, but it starts to really not make sense. I don't know what that is anymore. If the body feels off, perhaps because of the twistedness of your childhood or, whatever patterns were formed there might be an inability to like say no, or it might just have to do it over and over and to see how like unhealthy it is for the body. But it's not about setting boundaries anymore. It's just the body sees that it's unhealthy to, let's say, be involved with people who are, I don't know, not very clear or not very honest. And it's less and less coming from a personal place. It really is like the body doesn't have the interest and the energy to play into that dynamic anymore. it died. That personal energy died. The interest, the need for attention, the need for security, the need for safety, money, praise, respect, whatever it might be. It's a bunch of different things that are there. It just doesn't need it anymore. It's not fed by it. And so it stops. And only when it stops do you see that it's impossible to find peace when that stuff is active. And it's not your responsibility to stop it because it's there if it's there. The energy itself has to run out. And you don't see that it's causing the suffering when it's there. It's not quite clear what's going on because you're still getting some satisfaction. It's still feeding you somehow. It's still giving you what you want. And that's okay. But the emptier it gets and the clearer it gets, it's like, oh, thank God that's gone. Thank God I don't need to play into that. I don't need the confusion, the clutter, the messiness. And you really do see it for what it is. You see humanity for what it is. You see the personal energy for what it is. And there could be a lot of disgust in a different way. I mean, you could see that it was also here as well. So it's really seen in a different way. It's like, yeah, of course that's there. I mean, all of humanity is just perpetuating that, encouraging that, believe that that's the only reality. And when it's gone from the body, it's like, wow, that was complete imagination. That was complete, it was all made up. You were never going to be validated in that way. You were never going to finally feel the amount of respect that will make it enough. It's never going to be enough. It never works. There's never peace there. There's never satisfaction. There's never an end. It's always on to the next. And you can't see that because everyone is deluded and in the illusion and thinking that there is an end. It will work eventually. And the emptier you get, it can be really frustrating that people keep telling you to act a certain way, to be a certain way. But really, what you're hearing is stay deluded, be fake, stay in the dream, be like me. And again, it's just not needed. I don't get anything from making you happy. I don't get anything from listening to you, respecting you, believing you. It's just obvious that that kind of arrogance is actually ignorance, and they don't see it that way. They think that they're helping you. They think that they're right. They think that they're doing good. And that's how scary humanity actually is. They actually believe that they're helping. And that's why it's shocking because when you see that it's actually harming, yeah, it's really disturbing. And again, you probably did it yourself before, so there isn't that harsh, there isn't the same kind of judgment like that. It's just disturbing, and it feels really innocent at the time. Thinking that that someone's depressed and you know how to get out of depression. that small example is doing a lot of harm, actually. To think you know that that's depression in the first place. We're just so busy labeling and thinking that we know what the human body is. We're picking it apart, objectifying it, and we think that's helping. But yeah, it's just reconfirming a dream, fakeness. And yeah, I'm aware that these words can sound harsh for the person. Um, and I'm aware that it wasn't expressed like this before. Because as long as the personal energy is here, whether it be diminishing or emptying out or seen more clearly, it's it's nice to have a more, it's not necessarily you that's doing it, but there's more of an acceptance of it, like an allowance of however it is, because it's always been hidden and avoided, and you couldn't see it as a person because it's too vulnerable, it's too sensitive, it's too personal, and you can't admit to it fully. But here, it is really nice that you can finally just admit that I want attention, that I want love, I want safety, I want security, I want attention. Did I say that? I want all these things. Like it's finally nice to just admit it. And that is less crazy than the hiding of it, because it still will pop up in all of these different ways and you'll just keep denying it, hiding it. It means too much about you. So, anyways, there's more, I guess, like this feeling of love, and you could see it in others, could see how innocent it is and how it's makes sense that it's there. But again, when it completely empties out of the system, you see it in a completely different way. It's like, holy shit, we're all robots trying to get from each other, believing that we're helping each other, but actually harming each other. And it's obvious that you're just reconfirming each other's dreams. And there could be a period where you don't want a part of it anymore. You don't want to be a part of it. You see what it does to the body. It's harmful. But yeah, everything neutralizes. There can be a time where it isn't as shocking because again, the body hasn't been there before, so it is quite shocking. And yeah, there can be a lot to process there, but yeah, it neutralizes and it's not as big of a deal anymore, and that's nice. But yeah, you still can't play into it. There isn't any energy to be enticed by anything anymore. Yeah, you don't need or want anything. And I'm not talking about like basic survival needs that seems to just be natural in the body, but it's not owned and possessed by me. It's not entangled by that personal energy, but you can't imagine it. You can't get to that emptiness. It just has to happen on its own, and then you could see it. And, it's hard to label things, but I think I called it the natural state like a while ago when there was still a lot of personal energy. But now this is really the natural state. The body doesn't need much, doesn't long for much. It just wants to rest. And it's really nice. It's so uncluttered. This is healthy, if you can call anything healthy. It doesn't need substances anymore because it doesn't need to escape anything. It doesn't need all it feels is what that does to the body. Again, it's kind of harmful. It just simply doesn't need it. It doesn't long for it. And that's not to make anyone feel bad. I did that as long as it felt like it was helpful, you know? Like the processing can be a lot for the body. So sometimes having some comfort is completely fine. But then there just comes a point where it's just not needed because nothing's happening. Nothing's about me. So yeah, I think when I was going through this, I had to see the fraudulence in spiritual teachers and leaders because you can't empty out as long as you believe them. As long as you believe the specialness and the meaning and the stories and the all of that, it prevents you from emptying out because you're like you just don't know how much can go. And it's it's not scary in a big way, but it's like if no one is confirming to you that it could get emptier and that that's still the personal energy, um the likelihood of you going deeper, it just seems unlikely. Like everything around you is just keeping you a person. And it's really beautiful that now that it's completely empty, there's no doubt anymore. There's no, oh, yeah, maybe they have something that I don't have. Maybe I'm not there yet. Maybe it's just like, no, that's the person. They are selling something or they are trying to get respect or fame or power or more followers. Like it could be a bundle of stuff. And it's obvious that it's there because that energy goes. You cannot do that anymore. It's impossible to even care about that. The energy's gone and you can't fool anyone anymore. You can't lie to people. You can't be dishonest. I get nothing out of that. And they don't know that they're being dishonest. I'm just saying that I perceive it that way because it's fake. It's in the dream. It's lies. It's made up imagination. But to them, they're helping. To them, they're feeding you a false reality that they believe. They don't know it's false, but they believe that they are helping humanity wake up. And it's laughable now. But again, that's what everyone is doing, whether you fantasize and dream about a movie star or a rock star or politician or an activist, a writer, a poet, a guru, a teacher. It's all the same. It's just more confusing with spiritual people because you think they're talking about this, but they're not. And I know I repeat myself a lot. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but it comes out differently because the emptier it gets, I don't know. I kind of find it beautiful too that it could be seen like this, that it could be so clear and there's no more self-doubt and I'm not being led by that fear of what people will think of me. It's not about that anymore. I'm not being led by the desire for more money or for more respect, That's nice. That's nice that you could just speak it how it is when there's nothing but emptiness and there's no agenda. I mean, perhaps if I could say that there is an agenda, like, yeah, you have to pay bills and stuff. I'm sure maybe I wouldn't speak about this if I didn't have to do that. Who knows? That's probably likely. But if there is an agenda, that's probably the only agenda. And it doesn't feel like it's about me. It's like the body just needs to survive. That's like really nice to function from that place, uncluttered and not trying to manipulate people. And it's so rare. And so that's why this will take everything, your hopes and dreams for all of that stuff. That can't be prioritized. It just can't. And if it is, there won't be clarity. It cannot happen. And again, this isn't for the person to force itself to let go of all of its wants and desires. That doesn't work either. It really happened kind of naturally. Like it was in subtler and subtler levels that I saw that there was still a prioritizing of certain things and it did not feel good. Felt off. Yeah. So even till the very, very end, you still think that those things will give you the safetyness that's been longed for. But this finishes off everything. And it's so nice that there's nowhere to go anymore, nowhere deeper, nowhere further. This is it. No more questioning, no more what if, no more there's something else. Yeah, that's worth it all. So yeah, if you'd like to interact, you're welcome to raise your hand and take your time. Or you can just sit as well. Hi,
Hi, Suzanne.
nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. I'm gonna go have breakfast with my mother and sister. So if I get a message and I gotta scram quickly, that's what's going on. But I wanted to try to come for the time that I could.
Mm.
This is so disappointing. I like it when I get to the place where it's really disappointing. I even though disappointment comes crashing in, it's so good to see that it's not going to happen inside of the story and that it's not going to happen for the person and it's not going to happen in the future or become something that I can hold on to and keep and grab. Like, it's not any of that. And every time I'm looking for it, every time I'm seeking for it, that's what the belief is that it's something out there that I can get in the story that's going to make the character better. And like right now, the last day or so, like that's all bullshit. I can see it's all bullshit and it's just so disappointing.
Mm.
Um, but like here, it's been like the character offering itself up for the last couple of years pretty intensely. So like when that disappointment hits, I'm cool with it. It's okay.
Mm. Nice.
And then I don't know, the disappointment can subside some too because it's like just because it's not what the mind has been looking for doesn't mean it's not what I want. Like, no, the character, it's clearly not what the character wants, but like it's also this body has been processing itself out. So like on some level, this is what it wants. And it's very still and very quiet. And it's not what the person wants.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. Um, I feel like sometimes like if you've had a really miserable life, this could be the best thing ever, meaning there could be a lot of relief. But if there has been some things that has worked out, it seemed to have worked out. It didn't really work out, but it wasn't as bad. Um, there are just degrees to like trauma and what people have been through, but at least here it wasn't like so horrible. It was horrible for sure, but it wasn't as horrible as, let's say, my friend who was didn't have a bed till he was like 16, or didn't have food, when he was younger and stuff, wasn't fed, didn't get attention in any way. Like
Yeah.
that's fucking horrible. But um yeah, it's gonna be devastating because then there's like some doubt that comes in of like, wait, couldn't it work though? Like, and and that's also okay. Then you try it again and then you see like, no, it doesn't. It's always wrapped up in suffering, confusion, doubt, can't hold on to it, but wanting to hold on to it. And so you're right. The devastation is actually good to see it. Like, no, it doesn't work.
Yeah. You feel like one of my last lifelines in the dream. And it's just I feel um in the story really grateful of the fact that there's not dogma or agenda that I'm feeling on your side, and that just it means so much to me because of how much I've looked into spiritual teachers and how much I've read and how much I've gone into different lineages and different lines of thought, that it can be felt and it can be seen how rare it is, and it's just really beautiful to me, um, to have something in the dream that I still feel like I can trust when I need to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that's honestly what I felt with my friend. I could feel that he didn't have agenda. And so there was natural trust. I didn't need to force it. Well, you can't force it, but um you just know, you could just feel it.
Okay. I don't think I have any questions today, but thank you for the space and I love you guys.
Oh, love you too. Thanks so much for sharing. Hi, Clee.
Bye.
I want to say something, but I'm like, what? Like everything has hold. It's like as soon as it comes up, it's like it holds something and then it drops. Like, ugh. Well, no, not that anyway. Well, no, not that. Anytime, it just keeps dropping. With you in life, that's not always what happens, but
Yeah.
and I really like that. I really like that that happened, and it's happening more in life, but here as well. And like, I just don't know. I don't know. And I want to know. Like the truth is that I want to know. There is a wanting to know. I don't know what it is I want to know. I want to know everything. I want to figure everything out. But my God, it's tiring. Like, I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I went to the gym yesterday after not having been very much in a couple of weeks, and I did 3 classes in a row. And
Wow.
I honestly, I don't know how I did it. I I nearly died. It's exaggerating. It felt that way. Like I came home, I was like, I'm not sure how I just walked all the way back. Like, what just happened? And it's so stunning that the perfection of life is just utterly insanely stunning. Like there's something about feeling physically tired. For some reason, I felt physically tired, and the same day I've been there's been a lot of disconnection and people not showing up to calls when they said they would, and just friends pulling away. And I'm like, hey, and this thing that's happening. And before I would there would be a blaming, like people do this, it's always them, and oh, this means this about me. And that is still happening to a degree, but it's not being believed in quite so much. And so quite quickly it was like, huh, like a friend messaged me and said, sorry, I didn't listen to your voice note. Proceed. I don't have the capacity. Proceeds to spend 10 minutes telling me about her life. Like, okay, you don't have the capacity, but you have it for you, but not for me. You're taking my space. And that story came up. And I said to her in slightly bitchy way, but also true, like, it's okay you don't have time and space for me. It seems no one does right now. And that's a me thing. It's because I'm not giving myself space. The space, it's just everything is a mirror and it's perfect and I'm hiding and I don't want to look. I don't want, and I was just so, I'm so aware that there is a not wanting to see these things. Like there is something that's not wanting to be seen. I kind of know exactly what it is. It's wrapped up in my mum and a friend of mine, and believing them and trusting them and wanting to be important with them, and a push and pull, this whole dynamic that's being uncovered. And it's such a heavy, horrible piece for me. Such a big piece around my mum that I thought there would be a lot of anger, but it's so much sadness and so much hurt. Just I don't want to go there. And so I avoid by being there for other people all the time, all the time, all the time. And I'm exhausted. I mean, just yesterday, it was like I knew that I was pushing myself beyond what was right for my body. But it made total sense to me when I came home and collapsed in a puddle of tears and feeling, oh, that's what needed to happen for this to be expressed. Cool.
Mm.
It was, it's so, it's so confusingly beautiful and painful at the same time. And there's moments where I feel like I'm getting it, but I know that there's nothing to, like I know that I'm not, but it's a knowing that I'm not. And in that knowing that I'm not, that's the knowing. That makes sense. Like, oh, I don't know. Oh, it's that. And there's this, oh my God, the stories and stories and stories. Even when I'm exhausted, it still keeps going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. But I've got a little bit more energy for this story. It's like, what? How? And I hate that, actually, if I'm honest. I hate that. Just when I get to a like, oh, there's a bit of relief there, the mind goes, whoop, let's keep going.
Mm. Yeah. It will overlay itself on anything. So it's in a way I want to say it's not necessarily true. The feeling is very true. you know? Like how you feel is very real and very understandable. Um, and if you say that the tendency there has been to completely be there for others because it's too painful for others to be there for you for, you know, understandable reasons and painful reasons, that makes sense to me as well. That was pretty similar. And it's good to know that there's no out from that. Like the energy in the body to do that is, yeah, it's just so deeply wired, you know? And it's not your fault. It's not your responsibility to undo, but you do see it for what it is and how exhausting it is and how it's not healthy. It doesn't make any sense, but yet it still happens.
Feel it seems like how you said earlier about like the listening to spiritual teachers and gurus and believing them, and it can't actually show you anything because it's over there and it's never over there. It's not believed in. And I notice I've been looking a lot at like nervous system regulation. Um, it seems to be something that the system is like, that's the thing, that'll sort me out. But as I said this before, I can't make myself consistently do this nervous system. I can't make myself. I get so mad. I can't make myself do it.
Yeah, I mean, regulating the nervous system is just an idea. I mean, if like it just is what it is. If it's out of whack right now, that's what it is. Is it really a problem? No. Do you sense like what it needs? Maybe more rest or whatever, like, you know, that happens. It's nothing you need to really learn and hold on to and use systematically. It life doesn't work that way. We want it to work that way, and we try to do that with everything: our diet, our thoughts, our emotions, our nervous system, our relationships. Like we think it's systematic and we think it's there's a formula to it, like every instance, you know, but there isn't.
How do you know that? So it's so odd because part of me wants there to be a system and a structure that I can go, oh, look, bing, bing, bing. That makes sense. And, and there's a very big part of me that hates structure, hates planning, hates the idea that I have to abide by some system. What I'm doing makes sense because of it's within this system. I have to make sense. I always have to make sense. Now it's that I have to make sense within the nervous system world, right? Before it was I have to make sense within my family system or I have to make sense within my friends. And now it's like, okay, some of that has been let go of, but there's a grabbing hold of another one. And it doesn't stop me waking up feeling anxious. Like it doesn't change it.
Yeah. it can seemingly give you a little bit of um, security in that sort of knowing or landing there for a bit, but um yeah, you can't land anywhere for very long here. It's never about one thing. Um, and I think you just kind of described like there's the comfort that it can give to have some security in knowing of a system or something like that. But there equally will be the rejection of it and the doubt in it.
Yeah. It makes it so confusing. Like
Oh, it's very
okay, this is
confusing.
the thing. No, wait, no, it's not. It works there, but it doesn't work there. Well, then it's not it then, is it? Okay, so put it down. What else can I pick up? No. It's like this constant desire to pick something up and make it something, make it mean something. And then people around me doing the same, like my husband complimenting me or saying, "Oh, that was really good." And I get it and it's nice. And sometimes I'm like, "Please don't. You're
Yeah.
building this thing up, building me up into something that I may be true in this moment. It's not always."
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I could see how being with the person who's not going through this can be highly confusing for them because they can't get it right either, because there isn't that much consistency there, which isn't really there for everyone, but they can kind of manufacture it and believe that there is consistency.
And it seems like when other people do things that I have noticed myself doing, seeking new jobs. Like, okay, once I have a purpose in my career, then I'll be happy. And a friend is like looking for that, and there's this like need to fix, need to change, need to help this person, or it's annoying to see. Like, because I don't know, I'm trying to put meaning to it. I don't know, because it triggers the fact that that's still in me somewhere, maybe. I don't know. So it
It's
can be hard to be
impossible
around
to
other
know.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's impossible to know, but um it makes sense that you might be annoyed and not wanting to be around that sometimes. But also like sometimes there could be the urge to say something about it.
The more thinking happens and the more analysis happens, like it's like a videotape is going and it keeps glitching out, like it's this, no, not. Okay, but what about no, it's not that either, but it's definitely this, only it's not. It's like rises and falls, and then the bigger the rise, the bigger the belief in that story, the harder the pain of the fall. Or the more holding on, like it's held on for so long, and then it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very painful. But I also see like it's really beautiful in what you're saying. It's very rare to be there because really what people are doing, they're able to hold on to it for years and then maybe see that it doesn't really work, but they can't really admit it. And then they'll just go to something else. And then there'll be a couple more years of time invested in that. So you're actually, it's quick. It's like, I want it to be true, but it's no, I can't really believe it for very long.
It's like instead of 2 years at a time, it's like, I don't know, a week or so, and I'm reading a book or I'm reading about this topic, and I'm like, oh, it's this. Yeah, no, not that, not no, no,
Yeah.
again, again. And it seems to have so much energy, like no, never ending seeking energy. And all the seeking is the same. All the seeking is the same. No matter no matter if it's a 15, when I was 15 and I want a boyfriend, I want good grades, I want my mom to love me, seeking, or spiritual seeking. Like, I don't know, you could look, it's the same.
Nice.
It just, same pain, it's the same hopes. I want to be somewhere that's not here because I don't like here for whatever reason. Here isn't, I don't like here.
Yeah, it's going to be better once I achieve this. Yeah. Yeah, it's profound what you say. I meet people who've been on the spiritual path and then they kind of let it go. Um, but then someone like inspired them to like basically seek for it again. They just kind of enhance the seeking again for this concept of awakening. And they think that they have gotten somewhere, but it's like, no, you've kind of just been conned again. Like, yeah, the seeking has amplified, and now you think this is the answer. It's normal for the person to do that, let it go, and then be re-inspired, and they think that they're getting somewhere.
So easy to go back into time and getting somewhere. My mind went, yeah, I agree. But me, I am getting somewhere. Like
It's a
things happen.
strange thing.
Like I'm better. I'm closer. Suzanne says I'm yes, so definitely. Like
Yeah. It's confusing in that I do think that when there is a stripping away of the meaning and the specialness, or at least there's a light shown onto it that that's not the answer, there is a burning or a dismantling that can happen. And it seems like progress. It seems like you're getting somewhere. You kind of sense that that's not necessarily true, but things are kind of leaving. You kind of have a sense of that. So um in a way it's kind of different.
and that's what it is. Like it's what has made what has caused resting, I guess, has caused like a stopping in the seeking is to not say that there is to not don't deny the time thing. Don't deny that the person thinks it's getting somewhere because that actually those thoughts and that sense is actually there. That's
Exactly.
that is like So I think the confusion when I listen to teachers being like, okay, but that's not really happening. I'm like, but but that's invalidating that but that is happening, even though it's not happening, it seems as such. The words are coming out my mouth, the sense is there. That is the sense, even if it's not true, that is the sense that's here, and it's not true. Like it's
Beautiful.
and it
Yeah.
feels like the seeking stops when I go, yes, and that. It's both somehow.
Beautiful. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it's not, you're right that it's not healthy to deny when it actually feels like there is time and progression. Um, Overall, you can sense that maybe the truth is that nothing's happening, but it's kind of like denying doership, which I see a lot of people doing. It's like, oh, there's no one here, nothing's happening, I'm not doing anything. But it just is an avoidance mechanism for the person. It's just like another concept that they're holding on to, and it's not genuine, you know? So you could do that with anything, with time, with uh, yeah. So it's, you know, it's just the honesty of like, I get it. I understand. There's a deep resonance with, yeah, this isn't going anywhere and there is no time. And yet there are instances where there is doership and there is time and there is progression. And that's completely fine.
Yeah, it's really the denial that it keeps the seeking going. Like it keeps it trying to work it out. Like, okay, if it's not happening, why do I feel like it is? Like it keeps the questioning, work it out, work it out, work it out. It keeps me in here rather than just saying, oh, both. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And all of the elements, uh, it doesn't go away until the very, 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 very end.
Mhm.
So, uh, yeah, like the person's just in denial if they're saying like there's just no time. And but then you see the person acting like a person and doing what the person does. It's like, no, you're just denying that.
And I see myself doing that too. I see myself talking to people and saying, "It's just now. It's just now. Like, where are you anxious? Are you anxious in the future, or are you anxious here right now?" And there's truth in what I'm saying. And then as I say it, I'm like, "You can't say this shit. You don't live this way." And yet I am saying this because there is a truth. There's a knowing that there is a truth to it, and that I don't live that way. And so there's something that feels a bit off.
Yeah, beautiful. And it will be like that until the very, 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 very end. That's beautiful to just say it as it is. Admit that, you know, not many people do.
There's not many people to say it to who won't hear me say, "Oh, you're out of integrity. You should stop what you're doing. You need to da 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 da." Just, just that. It's okay. Story and the mind is it's so strong. I just like I can't get over it. Just like when I sit quietly, there's always something that could be said. There's always something that could be thought about, figured out, planned. Like I feel my body tense in in all of that, all the time. don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just so you know, I felt like that. Uh, Probably in these meetings, there were uh yeah, times where it was tense and stuff like that for the reasons you explained. Just is what it is.
And then at the same time, for all the bad things that I feel like I've shared, like all the not bad struggles, what you know what I mean. There has also been like I started drawing the other day and then coloring in, and I have been so afraid. It sounds silly. I don't know. My mum's an artist, and I felt like I could never live up to her, and I was always afraid of doing those things. And something has apparently dropped away where I'm testing out drawing a little bit, and there's this like small voice that's like, "Look at you go! Well done! Isn't this great?" Which is kind of sweet. And like sharing it with a few friends, kind of looking for that, yay, look at me, I did the things, and I like it. Like I don't feel ashamed, which is a new sensation for being creative and not feeling ashamed about it. And there's like the system wants that to happen. Like I did a thing that I enjoyed doing, and like this is cool, this can happen. And uh and at the same time there's also this, like, I don't care. I also don't care. That's really not like that's I think one of my favorite things about it. Like it's just, oh, I'm doing a thing that feels good for no reason, and it doesn't mean anything.
Amazing, yeah.
And I don't care.
Mm.
The relief in that. I don't have to get good and do it for people, or it doesn't matter. Like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, you don't have to continue it. It could stop. It's fine. Yeah, that sounds really nice.
So it's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, yeah. It's good to talk about how difficult this can be, but yeah. And then sometimes it's harder to mention the good stuff because it's not um it can almost sometimes have a quality of more fleetingness because you're not holding on to it as much.
Yeah.
But the hard stuff is hard, you know. It has a lasting effect on the body as well sometimes, and that's probably why you're looking into nervous system stuff and um but yeah, there's a lot of good stuff that I didn't mention here because it goes when it goes and it's hard to hold on to and just say it, you know?
Yeah. When a good things happen, we go, oh, that was cool, and then we move on. They're like there's a natural, I guess we just don't have the inclination to hold on when there is a good, sometimes when there's a good thing, but not in the same way. Yeah, the mind wants to fix when it feels like there's something wrong, but if there's nothing wrong, it won't, there's nothing to fix. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's not seen as a problem.
that's obviously not always true any as well. Because I'm sure there are people who do enjoy things and that's just what they share. That's not, there's no rule.
No.
There's something that's unraveling around judging people, judging others, and it's messy and confusing. There's an understanding of why it happens and a dislike. Oh, it like almost makes me feel sick. Like it is
You disliking people?
judging people. I've always got to find a way of, well, they da 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 da. I know something about them that they don't know, and that means that I'm better. In some way, I'm better. But it always feels crap, and I always feel worse.
Mm,
Now, maybe it gave me something in the past, but I don't like it.
mm, yeah. There is something about this emptying out though that will highlight to you the twistedness. So meaning like here as well, like you see it kind of everywhere. Um, so that's normal. And I don't know if you have to be harsh on yourself. Sometimes you could sense that's just like because the mind can also just be sort of crazy and say crazy things, but uh I think as you're leaving or seeing the beliefs and the ways that people live and try to gain some sort of happiness, it's all fake in a way, so yeah, I don't know if I would say that it's necessarily judgment and that you need to not judge. It's like, no, you're kind of just seeing it for what it is, perhaps.
It feels like both. It feels like seeing things for what they are and using that as a way to make myself better in some way. And
Mm,
and again, it's like this and it's the not it's not one or the other. It's helpful. A friend who keeps avoiding me, kind of friend, told me would get on the phone the other day. She didn't show up to the call, and it has mirrored something that's happening in another friendship where I'm on the other side. So it's like, okay, I'm judging her, but exactly what I think is happening with her, I think is happening the other way around with me. Oh, cool. That's helpful. That's
mm,
helping me see things. Things are being emptied out in the judgment as well. There's
mm,
something helpful about judgment
mm.
when I'm open to it, which
Yeah,
I haven't
nice.
been. And then the other day, I had a moment where I judged someone, and it was like this perfect experience to show me that judgment has its place. Like it's really like judging a situation. I was somewhere in town and there was a mother and a little boy, and I heard her say, "You just wait here on this corner and I'll go over there." And it was weird, and the little boy had like wet pants and he was about 3 or 4. And it was just it made me it didn't sit well with me. And so there was this little judgment of like or questioning, is he okay? Is he being neglected? Where's she going? I don't know what this situation is. So I just went and sat down and just watched it play out. I still had no idea what was going on by the end, but it once my I guess I'd seen that, okay, this kid is safe and he's choosing to stand by himself in the middle of town for some reason that I don't know. Okay. But that judgment was healthy. Like there was this instinctive protection of a child, and I didn't say anything or do anything. It was and that made sense. Just the same as when I'm hungry, I eat. When I see a child who there's a potential that they might be being hurt in some way, I'm going to stick around and check that out. And there was judgments, what's the possibility? Neglect, abuse. Okay, those are possibilities, but they were possibilities and not truths. And there was something really that shifted something there, like judgment isn't this bad thing, this evil thing, it's only evil. No.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, there are probably a lot of judgments here that people would label as that. I just don't see it that way. I don't know what it is. It's when someone gets abused, I don't prefer that. Doesn't seem right. I know if what the effects are on the human body.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Clee. It's really nice to see you.
Thank you.